Welcome to a new tutorial series that I'm doing. It's going to be covering analog redstone and its usefulness in a survival setting. So first of all, we're going to get started with some of the basics of analog redstone. You should know about this if you're watching this video, but as we can see, this is going to be the basic mechanic. Redstone eventually decays, going 15 blocks before it eventually turns off. One thing to note about this is that each individual block of redstone, I say block because it's occupying a block space, each little bit of redstone has a strength value associated with it, starting at 15 and going all the way down to 0. We can do things with that. We can take advantage of this. Basically, that value is storing information, and we can use that in our mechanisms in the future. Next up is the redstone comparator. This is going to be a very useful block for us because its main purpose is to deal with analog signals and do a lot of operations on them. So basically how this block works is it takes a signal from the back, looks at signals coming in from the side, and then outputs signals to the front, like this. So I have some levers up so we can give it a variety of redstone signals, and let's just take a look at that really quickly. If we give it a signal of 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, you'll see that it outputs a signal of 10. So front to back, no matter what setting it's on, as long as there is nothing coming in from the side, you're going to get an output of whatever you put in the back of it. Now let's take a look at what the sides do. Let's once again give it an output of 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, let's do 10, just to make that consistent. Alright, so now it's going to have two different modes. On its first mode, well, I have to go down. Let's give it a signal of this. On its first mode, comparating mode, I think it's what it's called, when the torch is down, anything less than the value that you put into the back of it will not matter. However, if you put in a value more than the value you put into the back of it, it's going to stop outputting any kind of signal at all. Notice. So that works very much like kind of like a binary greater than less than operation, essentially. The second mode, subtraction mode, is a little bit different. Once again, if you put in a value greater than the signal coming from the back, it's going to completely turn off. However, in this mode, you're actually subtracting from the value. So let's say we subtract 3 from 10. We're going to be left with 7. Subtract 5 from 10, you're left with 5. And this is going to be a very useful mechanic later on when we start looking at kind of like analog redstone gates. Alright, let's look at a survival example of analog redstone. So in this example we have an automated sugarcane farm. Hopper timers, they're very useful, look them up. So automated sugarcane farm, and we would like to put it into some kind of storage facility automatically. Unfortunately for us, our sugarcane farm is a little bit too far away from our storage facility. So instead of using any kind of hoppers, we're going to be opting for an automated minecart system. So let's start off by making the chest, a chest for the sugarcane to be put into, and a hopper. Now, what we want to do is we want to fill this chest until a certain point, let's say like 30% full, at which point we want to unload the chest into a storage minecart until the chest is completely empty, and then send that storage minecart away to be unloaded. Now to do this, we're going to be using comparators to check the levels of storage blocks, which is something that comparators are very useful for. They check storage containers for items and output redstone based on the percentage of items in that storage container. So let's say you fill the storage container 30% full, 33% full. You're going to be getting a signal of 5, which is about 33% of 15. So because of this mechanic, something that I like to do is use furnaces for kind of static variables in my redstone circuits. So if I make this furnace hold 30%, make it like 30% full, and put that comparator into this comparator, what you're going to be seeing is that comparator is only going to be outputting. This comparator will only be outputting when this chest is more than like 30% full. So we have that mechanic down now. So next thing we need to do is we need to make it we need to make this signal stay on until the chest is completely empty. Now to do that, what we can do is simply reroute the signal back into the comparator. What that's going to do is it's basically going to void or null, whatever. It's going to make this comparator output 0 until this is 0, at which point this will be 0, this will be low, and this comparator will be able to output its full value again, basically resetting the system. So once it passes 30%, this is going to go high, this is going to basically turn off, and it's going to stay high until this chest is emptied, at which point this will turn back on and our system resets. Okay, so now what we need to do is make the minecart system. Powered rails, regular rails, there we go. Alright. Fill that in. Okay, so now we have a hopper that's going to be filling our chest minecart. And we need to, now we need to get a signal over from here, invert it, and send it to the hopper. To do that, what we can do is we can pull from the bottom of that block, just like that, and I need a repeater. Pull it from here, down with the repeater, over to here, and up into the up into the hopper. There's a problem with that though, in that this redstone dust is going to activate this block, power this block, which is then going to affect the hopper performance. So what we need to do is pull that away so that it's not going into that block and instead going this way. The repeater will still be able to pull from it, but it's no longer going to power that block. And because of that, we're going to need a slab to rest our repeater on. Oh, I can't get to it. To rest our repeater on. There we go. So now that should be working. Now this this hopper, let's knock this down from like 30% down to less than 10%. So that way we can take a look at this. So until it hits its threshold, there's nothing, right? After it hits its threshold, it starts pulling, and it's going to keep pulling until there are 0 items left in the chest, which is good. We have our first little system set up. That's exactly what we wanted. No items left in the chest. This turns back low, and the hopper stops pulling from the chest. And our system has reset. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to make it so that once there are 0 items in the chest, we push off the minecart. We make the minecart go over to the storage shed. To do that, we're going to be using what's called a falling edge detector. Very simple to make, just like that. And basically the back of the comparator is going to be seeing a delayed signal. And what that's going to do is when this goes from high to low, this redstone is going to stay on high for about 2 to 3 ticks longer than this redstone, allowing this to stay on for 2 to 3 ticks after this signal right here goes from high to low. And that should complete our system. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So let's go ahead and put items in past the threshold. Alright, we see we've started draining items. Let's simulate, items being stored in that hopper. Alright, so once that chest is completely empty, everything should work, and our falling edge detector should catch that and send our minecart away. Now the minecart comes over here to our unloading station, which is hoppers feeding into a chest. And I use a comparator on this hopper and another falling edge detector, just like we saw over there. So once this comparator goes from high to low, this signal gets activated and pushes the minecart away. And there you go, there's our completed system. It should work as long as like the minecart doesn't get stuck. So make sure that monsters don't allow monsters on this rail and stuff like that. And of course there might be some weird buggy mechanics with it. I haven't tested this in a survival setting, but it's just an example, kind of like an illustration of what you could do with analog redstone, relating it to a survival situation. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to be putting out more videos like this, always survival friendly analog mechanics in this tutorial series. So I hope you kind of stick around and take a look at the cool things that you can do with analog redstone. I'm pretty excited about it, and maybe after a few videos you will be too. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and take care.